And an A-list actor isn't following the pack of his fellow Trump-bashing Hollywood elites. Yes, Chris Pratt showing up on Bill Maher's Club at Random, and he mocked the over-the-top hatred some Americans have for the president, even if it's good for the country.
I'd hate to be so mired in hatred for the president that any success from his administration is something I'd have an allergic reaction to. To be like, oh, well, if they do it, I don't want it to happen. I'll put Clorox in my children's cereal myself. Or, it's like, come on, be reasonable here. There's certain things that would be a good thing to have. I want them all to be successful.
And proving Pratt's point, Star Wars star Mark Hamill says he wanted to flee America to escape Trump, giving his wife two choices for where they could move, either London or Ireland. But he ultimately decided against it. Quote, I still believe there are more honest, decent people than there are the MAGA crowd. If I didn't, I'd move back to England. Maybe he didn't go to Ireland because somebody else is already there.
Yeah, she's drank all the Guinness. Look, if a celebrity just offers some common sense, they're probably conservative. If they never say anything about politics, they're likely Republican. The only people who actually talk politics in Hollywood or speak regularly, outgoingly on every issue are liberal because there's no shared risk involved to your status. You're not going to lose anything. These are people who treat their non-binary kids as exotic pets. Look what I have. It's not a boy or a girl. And if your movies don't make money, your stances guarantee that you'll still be invited to parties where you'll probably inevitably find work, while many stars who only come out as Republicans until they're super rich, when they have FU money, like the Clint Eastwoods and the Sylvester Stallones. Hollywood's in trouble because they've gambled on online media types and alienated the general population. What they failed to see is that social justice warriors don't go to movies. They also got taken in by DEI's instantaneous reward, but DEI is on a separate track than the one called profit. So a person can get promoted in a film company for achieving DEI goals without ever making a dime for the company, and the companies are now feeling that. I'll relate this to D.C. The D.C. police chief, Pamela Smith, did not know what the term chain of command meant. This is a crucial piece in police organizational authority. She previously served as the department's chief equity officer. Now, just think about that in Hollywood and this is happening in every company. This is why they're going down.
What Chris Pratt said, Harold, reminded me of when Michael Jordan said Republicans buy Nikes too.
Yeah, he said they buy tennis shoes. But look, we should be on the level here. We sometimes criticize around this table Democrats who the Hamills and all these folks, and then we don't like Chris. They're allowed to say whatever they want to say, and if they want to move, if what's the lady's name that moved?
But nobody's
Rosie
saying
O'Donnell?
we're not.
No, but
no. That's a straw man argument, Harold. I won't have it.
But how is that a straw man argument? But all I'm saying is
because you're implying that I'm against it. How dare you?
No, I'm saying you like what he's saying, but you just don't like what Rosie's saying and Mark Hamill. I could care. They're like every other American. No. Some people, I like them all. And if they want, whatever he wants to say, I think Chris Pratt is giving Democrats a serious message. You can't just dislike him and think that's going to advance what it is that you want to do. Because you said it in the last segment. We don't really have anything clear that we want to do. I've not heard Democrats offer even as they're critical of President Trump's foreign policy, there's nothing to be critical on him blasting a mountain where they're developing nuclear material and him saying, I'm going to try my hardest to bring it into a war. I can understand if you say, Mr. President, when are you going to sell TikTok? It's still harming our kids. I can understand if you say NVIDIA and AMD are able to sell chips to China because they basically paid. What national security concerns have been eased? But if all you do is attack with no substance and no answers, to your point last segment, we're going to be in a minority a long time.
I'm tired of your fairness.
Emily, do you think that Hamill's wife looked at the weather forecast in London and Ireland and was like, I'm not doing that. No way.
Look, I lived it in Seattle. It would be like Tuesday at 10 a.m. and the streets would be packed with protesters. I'm like, don't any of you have a job? Apparently not. I'm sure I pay your salary in some form or another with my tax dollars. The thing is that Chris Pratt's comments, why isn't Governor Newsom saying that? Where is the leadership of the Democrats saying that? Because if they really served their constituents, they would see that peace benefits everyone, that a rising economic tide benefits everyone. So I find it so telling. You know, weddings, everyone takes their cue from the bride. Those brides are the horror ones. They have mascara streaming down their face and they are frightening. They are leading the charge on the left. They're setting the tone. And so that's why we have to cover when just one person says, can't we all be reasonable? Remember when Coach Harbaugh said, I want my president to succeed. And I've told you guys this before. After that horrific Vegas shooting at the country concert, I told you my friend from California who is utterly delusional and lives with their parents still, but had the nerve to say, good. Because the victims were Republicans since they were country concert goers. That is a level of delusion, and it's incumbent upon all those Democrat leaders more than Chris Pratt to tell everyone to remain reasonable.
But Jesse, maybe because of your esteemed show and incredible leadership in the country.
And ability to sell books.
Here we go. Now, it feels like something is changing. Like
I used to think my mom had TDS. And then when Trump won the second time, or is it the third time?
No, it's the second.
I was humble enough to admit that I had misdiagnosed her. Because we were in Maine the other day, and she said, you know what, I love that Donald Trump is bringing back the fitness test. And she never got in my grill about mass deportations. She conceded that Washington, D.C. has a crime problem. So my mom is not as crazy as I thought. Now, if you can accept reality and acknowledge that some things the president's doing are good, then you are sane. But if you cannot accept that reality, as Greg said, if you want to rebuild the program that the Iranians had, or you want to bring people back into the country, or you want to bring back paper straws.
Yes, good one.
You are mentally ill. Because that is the definition of mental illness, if you cannot accept reality. I mean, when Osama bin Laden was killed by Barack Hussein Obama, I was unmentally ill enough to applaud him.
I think it was Rob O'Neill that killed him.
That's how I get around admitting that he didn't really do the dirty work.
Okay.
Just like President Trump flew those planes to Iran, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.